Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures in order for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. Now, for those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we do write thought pieces every other Sunday. We actually just dropped a thought piece this past Sunday, so definitely be sure to check out our website and read through our blogs. If it is the case that you're out and about and on the go, take us along with you. We are now available on 9 different podcast platforms, and we'll provide you with the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, definitely be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you enjoy our discussions and you like to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And this week our topic of discussion is education. So before jumping into today's segment, I just want to let you know that we just had our very first live event this past Wednesday. It took place on the 15th, and we have our next one scheduled for the 29th of September. So if you're interested in learning more about how to create and maintain joy in your life, then definitely be sure to check out our live events. Now, they are paid per entry, but if it is the case that you want to engage in more of these events, if you want to become part of our community, and if you want to continue to engage in these thoughtful discussions, we do have membership plans. So definitely be sure to check out our membership package. If you check out the website, you'll also get a sneak preview into the topics that we're hoping to uncover for the rest of 2021. So all of that is available to you for you to see and look into and decide if whether or not it's something that appeals to you. Now, in today's discussion, I want to be talking about the importance of personalizing education, and I want to provide 3 key ways to do this. So one of the reasons why personalizing education is so important is that personalization is non-conforming. So by the mere act of personalizing your child's education, it is teaching them in practice that they don't need to be conformist in the way that they view and course through education in and of itself. So in effect, the exercise builds an awareness of the status quo and of each child in relation to that status quo, and also gives them implicit permission to move as close to or as far away from that status quo as it relates to their interests in learning and where that lands on that spectrum. So the way that this typically will translate is the syllabus, whatever the learning plan is as is defined by the educator or your school curriculum, we consider that to be the baseline. And then from there, you can work with your child to decide, what it is they're very interested in, what it is that you can do on your own, what it is they can do on their own that supersedes that baseline, and however that translates is for you both to explore and to create new opportunities to delve into that learning in different and interesting ways. And I think that it's very important that we build the practice of deviating from the baseline, because that gives us experience and exposure of carving our own paths and making it okay and not so taboo and not so out of the norm to carve one's own path is super, super important. And allowing your children to cultivate the tools required to continue to personalize their education and their learning moving forward throughout life. It's a muscle they want to start building from a very young age. We don't have to make big splashes or big waves. The key really to building this muscle and kind of incorporating this awareness is small, meaningful, but consistent changes and deviations throughout the year, where you pick a subject, any subject, or it doesn't even need to align with the school curriculum. If they tell you that they have an interest, you find that it's not on the learning plan, you personalize some form of learning in relation to that interest, and you give them the sense that that's okay. That's something that you encourage, and that's something that you will support as well. The second reason why it's important and super crucial to personalize your child's education is that it creates a sense that their curiosity and their interests are valuable. And one of the inherent truths of always following a curriculum, of always following a plan is it speaks to, well, what I'm interested in, what my plans are as it relates to the things that I would like to learn in must be less important if it's always carved out for me. And when it is the case that, your child speaks to an interest or tells you something that they're curious about and you build a plan to it, then they recognize that where their interests lie and where their curiosities lie, there's value there as well. And that value translates as, hey, I'm formalizing a plan around the things that interest you. So I think it's very important that we place a highlight on personal interest, that we celebrate personal interests, and that we encourage our children to display, to articulate, to communicate those personal interests, and to build plans and pursue those interests over and above whatever baseline that curriculum offers. So again, this translates as importance, as you putting importance on what your children themselves find as interesting, find as curious, and building a formal plan to help them unearth more information and more details around that, fueling and nourishing their curiosity and also their sense of purpose. If it is something that you're curious about, then you drive, you build a map, you build a plan on how you learn more about this, or how you delve deeper into it, or how you cultivate more expertise in relation to it. It's very important in building that muscle to be autonomous and self-driving as it relates to your learning plan moving forward. It also creates the ability to weigh in and to build a self-assessment and to determine your level of investment on a given topic. So when you put a child to the task and okay, well, let's formalize a plan around this, put some timelines in place, let's set some milestones as it relates to your ability to cultivate expertise in this arena, they get to weigh in and they get to decide how much they invest, and they can make adjustments to those investments as kind of time goes on. And that autonomy, that muscle in and of itself, is really very integral in giving them the tools that they need to be self-serving by way of their own education moving forward. And it also tells them how to put that into practice, because sometimes we have all the desire, but we don't necessarily have the tools. And giving them that sort of ability to cultivate that awareness, to weigh in, to determine their levels of investment, to build milestones and timelines, all of that are tools that they're going to be needing in order to be goal-oriented and to recognize the steps involved with acquiring different skills and the timelines that are required. And it also helps them to build the skills that they need to manage through their own frustrations and different learning curves that they're going to experience when they're learning the subject independently. So I think that that's incredibly important to start in their formative years. The younger, the better, but to continuously work at it throughout the course of their formal education years. It's a great way to align self-management and discipline towards personal pursuits, and to explain to them that if you value your personal pursuits, then you need to self-manage and you need to be very disciplined in the way that you acquire more knowledge in relation to those things. And the third point, and I think this is, this point is important, and I think it carries weight for a lot of different reasons in a lot of different ways. And it emphasizes your role in their lives as a leader in their lives. So not just as a parent, they might have their own schema around you as a parent, but I think it's very important that they broaden their scope of reference by way of leaders, educators, tutors, individuals who formally put plans together that support their growth and development intellectually, morally, and so on and so forth. So it's important that they broaden that scope of reference by way of what they recognize as qualities and attributes in leaders that they want to model, or that they would like to commission to support them in their growth and development as well. So attributes inherent in individuals that they seek out for mentorship moving forward, that they seek out for guidance moving forward. If they see and recognize that you play a huge role in formalizing and personalizing their education over and above what it is that their curriculum offers, and the different ways that that translates with you, and the different ways that you collaborate and engage with them in that respect, it will also teach them that, hey, when it comes to adults or people in my environment that can support me in my personal pursuits and in my passions, what attributes do I look for? What are the qualities inherent in different adults that can do this for me? And they don't have such fixed frames for different adults within their lives, assuming that a teacher is the only person who plays the role by way of their intellectual growth and development. It's important that they recognize that those who can support you in your pursuits, in your passions, and in your development, it goes beyond formal titles. And I think the best way that they can learn that is by learning that through education that takes place at home, and not only education that takes place in a formal academic setting. And when it comes to seeking out individuals that support their growth and development, these are individuals across every age band, right? Across all stages and phases within their life. It helps them to realize who is best for what type of learning, and helps them to recognize and to seek out value in those around them, and to also offer value to those around them as well. So all of this, all of the 3 points that I just mentioned, all of this plays into critical thinking ability. So cultivating the ability to think critically about one's own education, about adapting and formalizing and personalizing one's own education, making that sort of the baseline. So recognizing whatever school offers is the minimum, and we can always go over and above that, and we can personalize it, we can make it fun, we can make it enjoyable, and sort of demarcating between things being a chore and things being a discipline. So if it's something that you love, something that you're very passionate about, it's important to be self-governing. It's important to cultivate self-discipline, to work towards those milestones and those different timelines. And if you help them build those muscles when they're young, that's definitely going to help them in leaps and bounds when they're older, and it'll help them be self-motivated and to be autonomous. And I think that the best ways that we can create autonomy in our little learners is by these small little things that sometimes we undervalue and we underestimate the significance of them later on in life. So this video is super quick, but hopefully very practical. I hope it was very interesting to you. And this goes to all parent groups. So whether your children are learning in an academic setting, whether you're part of the unschooling school of thought, whether you're part of the homeschooling school of thought, I think it's very important that regardless of where you get your education materials, you give your child the opportunity to personalize and adapt that material according to their own personal passions and interests, and you formalize learning plans that coincide with that, so that they recognize that they also play a role in their learning and their growth and development, and they can cultivate a sense of pride in really meeting the expectations of that role in and of itself. That was this video. I hope you found it interesting. I hope that there are some tidbits that you can put into practice in your home as soon as today, and definitely engage with me. Let me know how it panned out, how it worked out with your child. I'd love to hear some of the learning plans and some of the personalizations and adaptations that you put in place. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me. All of our contact information is in the description down below. We'll chat with you soon.